write the customs down. And maybe they say, well, okay, yeah, it could be nice, but if they think about it a bit longer, they maybe say, well, why should we write them down?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, it's just a question. Huh?
I think they are really concerned by the fact that their customary law and their beliefs are officially recognized, because this has been a big problem in Laos. I mean, as you said in the constitution, you have one sentence about that, like these nice people with their customary things on the field, but they really want that to be not official. No? We don't talk about statutory law, but that people know, that people recognize, that the government recognizes that. So it's really important for them. Then in terms of participation, it's a little bit, you will always have a lot of people in your meetings because they have been told to come by the local officials. So that's the organization. You have a mediator from the government who will say, come to the meeting. And even you arrive in the meeting and you have someone with a mic in the middle of the village saying, everybody has to come. So that's the thing. You will have a lot of people, but you have to make sure that they are interested and that you are completely transparent with what you do. That you really want an exchange, and you don't want them to be here to answer just your questionnaire and go back home. You want them to be interested. So in some villages it didn't work at all. I mean, I felt that they were here because they've been told to, and the government said, like, you have to be there from 11 to 1 and answer the question. And this is not really interesting for us, but in other villages, we really feel that some people are really interested. They want to share with you, and they understood what you want to do. So this were our sample villages.
This is very interesting because you go from one country to another in the Mekong, and there are different ways of doing it. In Cambodia, for instance, you may I've been working on this project to do with dams, which involves Laos as well. But in some of the meetings I've had, the villagers all come, and they come totally of their own free will because they're angry against the government, against the development. This is, of course, quite a different situation. But in the meetings that I've had, at least, there was no government interference at all. In Mali, you can expect that there is. So, the very interesting contrast between one country and another, one region and another.
Also, a few years ago, we did, I mean, not related to any particular area or what heritage site or Ramsar site, but we did something similar in southern Thailand, and it was related to coastal and marine resource management. So it was related, in southern Thailand, it was related to coastal and marine resource management, post-tsunami. And there we did very much the same kind of thing. Went in the field, mapped backgrounds, but what we were doing there was also helping the community to say, okay, this is ours. This is our customary jurisdiction. And they'll walk it with you. They know exactly where it is. No? And then what we did was we did overlays. So we mapped all of the different statutory jurisdictions. So you've got an ecologically sensitive area here, which overlaps with a reserve forest, which overlaps with, like one part of a marine protected area, which overlaps with, like something else. And so it also showed the statutory authorities really quickly where their conflicts were. Why they had them. Because in some places it was either, these local people are completely unmanageable, but in fact they have legislated themselves right straight into conflict. And not that the local authorities have done that; it had been done for them, but they have to deal with the aftermath. So in those cases too, it was more like it was in Cambodia, what Ben has just described, but not quite as severe. It was post-disaster. People were just trying to pull their lives back together and try to find a way to prevent that. They know they can't prevent tsunamis, but try to be sure that the next time something like that happens, it won't be quite as devastating. Oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll do this quickly because we've only got 10 minutes. What we want to do is ask you for ideas, so please just throw them in now. But basically, you've got to do your homework. You can't just go charging into a village without having at least try to find out what's already been done on page. Do it over. And a lot of these things are lessons that we've learned from work that we did in Pakistan on customary law of governing natural resources, and southern Thailand and Laos. in Pakistan in particular, and then also to another degree in Laos, you have a preliminary consultation with like the wise ones. You know? And in the case of Pakistan, we sat with the leaders from three streams of customary law for a day, and just said, look, this is what we're thinking of doing. Do you think it's a good idea? If they had said no, then we would have said thank you very much, have lunch, and go. You know? But they said no, we think it's a great idea, and we said, okay, how do you suggest we do this? And they told us, and they also told us who to talk to. And they told us how to talk to them. No, I mean, so then the social anthropologists went back and wrote it all down, and that became, you know, that initial meeting with the wise ones became, you know, the basis for the methodology. But what we've learned out of it is, no matter how many things you have read, you know, before you go in the field, don't assume that you know anything, right? You don't know anything until you start talking to the people who are actually living the law. I mean, has anybody else done anything similar? Have anything to feel you guys are?
Well, I was just gonna add as a question. I mean, it's the bottom. The key message is almost that adage that process is outcome. The process is the outcome, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what you keep on underscoring is the more the community is involved in developing these plans, obviously the more cogent the plan is going to be, the more people are going to adhere to the plan eventually and buy into it, etc. So just wonder in that context, how one could make it even more participatory and this thing. And I would, as a devil's advocate, I would just wonder how much one could actually posit the whole, as much of the process as possible in the community, and without advocating for this BCP nonsense, to suggest that, or to try and imagine a way the communities could have run almost the whole process or more of it. And I'm almost wondering, what, there's been this land titling project in Africa where they actually did a bit of kind of ceteris paribus, you know, scientific this much for one community, assistance, etc. It would be very, very interesting to see differences in terms of buy-in by communities that are visited, you know, once or something, a number of times, or communities that do like a full quote-unquote BCP process. I'm not selling BCPs, but that kind of approach, and to see what the difference is then. But what do you think about that? Like, yeah.
Okay. Again, one is like the range of things you described.
There we go.
Probably works in a lot of places, but in Laos, as we said, you can't do it. You know what I mean? Without like the participation of the government. Now that said, the participation of the government really has not been malignant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have gone out and beaten the drum and said, okay, you have to be here, you know, from such an hour to such an hour. But they don't entirely dictate the interests of the people in communities, because basically they're not that present. When they come in, everybody has to listen to them because they make the biggest noise. But then everybody knows they'll go away and they keep applying their own customary law, and that's what matters. So the only thing is, though, I don't mean to cut anybody off, but there's some things again about the field work, and I wasn't in on the mapping and everything. Raph was. He's got to leave in 5 minutes, and I really 15? Okay, well, still, we have to talk fast. So, so if it's okay, I'd like to go through these first two a little bit more quickly so that we can then get into the field work while Raph is here, and then let you ask him any questions before he has to go. Yeah? Okay. Okay, preparing the methodology again. Multidisciplinary team, and one of the things that we learned from our failures as well as our successes. We knew when we started out, when we designed this, that we wanted to have the lawyers, and force the lawyers and the sociologists and the economists to work together. That they were not going to be able to, one sit in one building and write, his or her own report, another would sit over here and write his or her own report. They were going to have to talk to each other and come up with one. Unfortunately, at the outset, the person that we got for law simply wasn't capable of doing that. But you don't know that until you've gotten a ways into the project and you realize, oops, we have a problem here. And And it was at that point that then we went back to the guy that, and we said, look, I'm sorry, you've got no choice. You may have no time, but you've got no choice. You have to come. And then he did. But you really do have to have, because the exchange between our economist, anthropologist, sociologist, and our law lawyer has been really good, and we've learned a lot. Everybody has to know what everybody else is supposed to do, and you have to respect that. The third point is related to the first one. And testing, and this is something that Ralph can talk about. The methodology is field tested first in one village, and then corrected before it was used. And again, the message is you can't go in unprepared, but you have to be prepared to do everything over. Once you go in and field test your methodology and find out what works and what doesn't work. We did the same thing in Pakistan. Went in, even after having listened to the leaders, went in, field tested it in 3 villages because there were 3 different, types of customary law, and then went back and spent a month rewriting before the team could really go in the field and do everything. So, and then, okay, so next one.
Okay, so again, this idea of the multidisciplinary team and the teamwork is essential. You have to have the socioeconomic thinking as a lawyer, and the lawyer thinking about socioeconomic experts, trying at least to act as a real team. That's really critical. What is important also is to include at least one local resource person in the team. In Laos, it's not a problem because you have, as I said, you have to have someone from the government with you on the field. At a local level, actually, it's quite interesting because, okay, you will be. We had a woman. She was a local official from the district, but she's someone from the village as well. She's someone from Sechangpon who believes in customary law, who knows everybody. So at the end, it's just like having someone from the village. You don't really feel that you were someone from the government, and I didn't feel that it made any difference on the field. People were really open to talk about all the issue and all the question that we have. Plan twice as much time as you think. That's really important. You can plan 3 days and you will need definitely 6 or even more, because the questionnaire takes time, because we realized that we needed to cross-check much more than what we initially thought. So finally, every time that we planned 1 week, we ended up spending 10 days on the field. Make sure, I think we say that already, that the person is hands-on on the methodology and on the project. They are the one acting. They have to be. We are here just to give a kind of framework or guidelines for this study, but they are the one doing it, giving the information, discussing the information, and we just gather all the information together and try to analyze it. Be respectful, of course. It's important, but it's important to show your interest beyond just getting your data. You're talking about culture, you're talking about some private issue. So it's important to show that you are really interested and not only interested in filling your questionnaire. Use 100% of your time, I said it, and explain what you do, we said it as well. The people have to understand what we are doing, what will be the feedback to them that we will do, what will be the implication in the future. So triangulate, observe, and respect on the field. So analysis again, multidisciplinary team, push people out of their comfort zone, always having this real teamwork. Multiple rounds of cross-checking again during the analysis, and maintain perspective. Because when you write a report or analyze data, you want to give a tangible form, but again, you're talking about spirit, beliefs, and taboos. This is intangible, and there's something that you cannot change. So yeah, assure that your analysis indicates it's only preliminary and that you have to do a feedback to the people. And here we go with the feedback.
When you say cross-checking, you're talking about with other members of the team, or
with other members of the team, and then sometimes calling back in the village, or just for some information first, cross-check. Then you go back to the field. This is essential. This is a step that shouldn't be skipped. This is part of the process, part of the methodology. So you have to refer back to what we said for fieldwork, go back to the field and do almost the same methodology with group discussion, and again walking in the forest, just presenting our data. This time we are the one talking about what we collected, and they are the one saying if it's true, if it's correct or not. Present that in a visual way, of course. Involve local person in the team for the feedback and for cross-checking. So this is an important step that we're going to do in October. So coming back to the different villages and the workshop with the community. So we'll see how they react to our analysis, and that will be a first step also for us to draft the regulation with them.
Yeah, because drafting the regulations can't start. Drafting the regulations can't really start until we're sure that we have correctly understood what they've been telling us. You know, and the other thing too, I mean, we learned this in Pakistan, that we said triangulate. I mean, literally, that's the minimum. You have to ask at least 3 different people the same question, you know, and preferably from 3 different, you know, three different groups. Because if you get the same answer from 2 of them, you may be on the right track, right? But if you get 3 different answers, you still got a ways to go to try and figure out what's going on. One other thing too that you also have to be careful for, and we don't have this on a slide anywhere, but we learned it in Pakistan, is that different people hear different things. So a lawyer goes in the field and hears one thing, yeah. An anthropologist goes in the field and hears something else. And our enumerators, the people who were doing field work in Pakistan, were primarily social scientists, but not lawyers. And they came back with data. I mean, they counted ducks. They counted all of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? That was, I'm sure, very, very interesting if you were doing like nutrition surveys and this kind of thing. But that wasn't really what we were looking for in this study. You know, so also, if you want to maximize your time in the field, which is what Raf has been emphasizing over and over again, you have to be sure that you don't let yourself get sidetracked by what might be particularly interesting for your own discipline, but doesn't have a whole lot to do with what you're in the field for. You know, that's.
Yeah, just a joke to finish. Because I also had a promise. So this is one of the spirit master of one of the village, and he was always saying that we have to enjoy what we do. Are you enjoying? Do you enjoy? This is really important in Lao culture. Everything you do, you need to enjoy. You need to have fun. So for me, that was one of the most interesting field work I did in Laos, because I was with people really interested in what they were doing and talking about their culture. So he asked me to take a picture of him and to show it in a big meeting. So I hope this will be enough for him, and I pay my promise to him. So enjoy it. Yeah, we have a few video from the field. I think it's 1 minute each, 3 video. So yeah, just to comment a little bit for you to see, because there were not a lot of pictures on the PowerPoint. Is it? Okay. It's really short. So the first one will be a passage ceremony. So it's true, because one of the guy from the village got sick and got better. So all the village gathered in one room and honored the spirit by offering beer, sticky rice, money, and they put is it working? So you have all village, and so the one with the white shirt was the one sick, and all the village put this white cotton, this kind of thing for the last ceremony. That will link them to the spirit, and they are all offering rice, beer, drinking a lot of herb. It's also really important for to socialize in the village. So here, just imagine arriving with a questionnaire, trying to put a frame on this. Of course you cannot do it. Of course you just have to observe and ask a lot of questions. That's part of the work also. And that's quite interesting to participate in this. The good thing with Lao people, they are really open about that, really open about their culture. They will talk easily about all of this. So here you can see that. And then you have to keep it for 3 days to honor the spirit. The spirit will be with you for 3 days, and then after that you can just untie it. This is the person that was sick is on the side, and it's just better, so you organize the ceremony in his house to honor the spirits of the village. And then you also have another ceremony, this time in the spirit forest. We can film it. I hope you all have the buffalo in next time. So maybe you can go for the other one. So this one is just a spirit house in the. Could you just stop the image on the? Well, just before. So you have this kind of spirit house in every spirit forest with 3 levels. I don't know. Could you go back just a little bit so we can see the whole house? Just I think 1 or 2 seconds before. Yeah, here. So you have 3 levels. The first level is for the spirit. The second one is for the soldier, and the third one, when you have, is for the spirit's wife. So, which is also a spirit. So you have 3 levels, and you pay your promises to the three spirits, 3 kinds of spirits.